everyone. Today we're going to be doing a project that I'm calling A Day at the Beach. Doesn't that sound nice? Summer will be here before we know it. And this picture, even though it's at the beach, which means it's an outdoor picture, I would not call this a landscape. The focus of this picture is going to be the objects that are on the beach. So I would consider this more of a still life. And hopefully you remember that term, still life. A still life is a picture of objects, a painting or a drawing or a photograph of everyday objects. And in this case, it's just going to be objects found at the beach. But in this situation, the objects are outside, right? So it's a little confusing. But I hope you will have fun. I'm going to start with the beach ball, which is going to be the easiest object to draw. And the last thing we're going to draw is the seashell. And that one's going to be the most complicated. So take your time, pause the video whenever you need to, and let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that our paper is side to side or horizontal. And we're just going to pretend that we are spending the day at the beach. Doesn't that sound fun? And what I want you to do is start by drawing a wavy line, maybe right in the middle of your paper. Not too wavy, just slightly wavy. Can you see that? It's a slightly wavy line, not too wavy, because it's just meant to be sand. That's going to be our sand. And the first object we're going to start with is the easiest one, and that's the beach ball. So we're just going to draw a big circle, maybe off to the side somewhere. Not too small. Pretty big. I'm drawing it maybe the size of my fist, or you could think of it as the size of an apple, or something like that, the size of a baseball. And of course we're drawing lightly with our pencil. We don't want to press hard. And we're just going to draw two curved lines inside the beach ball like that. One like this and one curving this way. So we're kind of making that football shape. See, if I turn my paper this way, see how it's like a football, or that shape that we used when drawing the human eye. Two curved lines, right? So that's all we're going to do on the beach ball, except for we want to erase this line right here. Okay, so go ahead and draw your beach ball, and I'm going to erase this line right here. All right, so hopefully you have your beach ball drawn. And again, we're going to try to draw very lightly. We're not going to press hard with our pencil because some of these things are going to overlap each other, and we want to be able to erase our lines later. So that's the largest thing we're drawing, is the beach ball, and the simplest shape since it's a circle, right? So the next largest thing in our picture is going to be our bucket or our pail. And so we're going to draw that next. And on my picture, you can put it anywhere you want on your paper, but on mine, I'm putting it right in the center. So above this line, above this sand line, I'm going to draw a very skinny oval, or you might think of it as an ellipse. Remember that word, ellipse? Ellipse is like an oval or a circle that looks like you stepped on it and smashed it like a pancake. So see how I drew that, and I put it right above my wavy line. And then I'm going to draw two lines that are straight, but they're kind of angled. So they're going to get a little bit closer together down at the bottom like that. And then I'm going to erase this line right here. Okay, so instead of drawing the bottom of the bucket, I'm going to draw a wavy line, and like this, not too wavy, but wavy. And that way it looks like our bucket is sitting down into the sand. It's sitting down inside the sand. See that? And then we're going to just draw a handle, and I wanted the handle to look like it was just kind of hanging down instead of being up like this. I wanted the handle to be hanging down. So I'm just going to draw like a big curved line, like a big smile. We've used that line a lot in our drawings, haven't we? And then you can go ahead and double it up. So what I mean by double it up is just draw that same curved line right next to it so it looks like the handle on your pail or on your bucket. If you want, you can even draw a little curved line here and a little curved line here on the sides. Okay, so there's our bucket. Pretty simple, right? Next, we're going to draw our shovel. And I'm going to put the shovel right here next to my bucket. So for the shovel, we also want to make this look like it's stuck in the sand. So I'm going to draw basically a square shape like this. See how I did that? And I kind of rounded the corners. Right here, let me get close. I rounded the corners instead of making it real sharp. Okay, and then inside there, I'm going to draw a big curved line like that, kind of like a rainbow shape. Okay, I can erase that later. And then I'm going to draw the handle. So the handle's just going to be 2 straight lines, nice and tall, right, real close to each other, so they're skinny. And then I'm going to put the handle, the part that you hold onto with your hands, up here. So I'm going to just do a big letter U, another letter U inside it, like that. And then I'm going to just draw 2 straight lines at the top to close it off, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to erase this line right here, this little line, and all my little lines that I don't need. So we have our beach ball, we have our bucket, and we have our shovel. And the next thing we're going to draw, the next 2 objects, the last 2 objects, are actually going to be the most challenging. So I'm doing them also in order of how difficult they are. So the next object is going to be the flip-flops. We're going to draw a pair of flip-flops in the sand. So, and those are pretty big. I mean, they're pretty long, but they're going to be kind of skinny. So we're going to start with really a wavy line, and I'm going to make it into kind of a peanut shape. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to draw this, see, a wavy line, and then I'm going to curve it around and make it almost into like a peanut shape, only I want it to be kind of skinny and flat. And we're going to end up adding another curved line underneath it. And then we're going to draw this part of the flip-flop. Okay, something like that. Does that look like a flip-flop to you? All right, so you can put them anywhere in your drawing. I'm going to put mine right about here. So again, a nice big wavy line. I want maybe the front part of the flip-flop to be bigger than the back part, like that. So see how it kind of looks like a peanut shape? And then again, I'm going to come down and add another line like that underneath it. And then the straps, like this. I'm just using 2 curved lines. So curved line and another curved line like that. Okay, so there's one flip-flop. Now I'm going to do the other. And it can go right off the page. If you're drawing rather big like me, I'm drawing these objects pretty large, you can go right off the edge of the paper. Like this. Okay. So there's my other flip-flop. So I'm doing this pretty fast. You will probably have to pause the video and take your time and do it a little slower. So go ahead and do that. So I started coloring my picture, even though there's one more thing I'm going to add, but I did at least do my beach ball. I outlined it with marker and I colored it in with colored pencil, just to show you how, well, for one thing, to help you see how the flip-flops overlap my beach ball. And of course you can choose any colors you want for your beach ball. So I just chose red, yellow, and green. But we're going to draw one more thing in our picture, and I'm going to put it over here. It's going to be a seashell. We're going to draw a conch shell. And so I think it would be a good idea to practice this first before you draw it in your picture. So I'm going to turn to my extra sheet of paper where I practiced my flip-flop, and I'm going to show you how we're going to draw it. We're going to start with an oval, and again, press very lightly because you're going to want to erase some of this. And then from the oval, I came out with a curved line and I added kind of a pointy end like that. And then I'm going to add another curved line right here, or a wavy line. And the reason I'm doing that is because this part is going to be the inside of my shell, and this is going to be the outside part. And that'll make sense. That'll make more sense in a minute. And now over here, I'm going to do a series of, well, they're not quite rectangles and they're not quite ovals. They're a little bit of a combination of both of those things. So this is a rectangle, right? And this is an oval. So it's kind of a combination of those two things. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to come out like that, and then I'm going to do it again. And each time I do it, I'm going to get a little bit smaller and smaller and smaller until I get to the end like that. Okay, so that's going to be our conch shell. So do you notice how it's kind of like I said, it's kind of like a rectangle, only has rounded edges, kind of like an oval. So I guess it's a little bit of a combination of both. All right. So that's what we're going to do. I would recommend practicing that before you put it into your project. But once you've practiced, in fact, if you want to pause the video now and practice, you can. And then when you're ready, you can start it again. But I'm going to draw mine right here, and so it's going to overlap my shovel a little bit. So I'm going to very lightly draw my big oval. It's a very round oval, so it's almost like a circle. And then I'm going to do my curved line like that. I'm going to draw this other wavy line. This right here is almost like a football shape. Do you notice that? It's almost like a football shape. And then I'm going to draw that series of kind of like rectangles, kind of like ovals, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to erase this line right here because I don't need that line. I'm also going to erase this line and this line. So I outlined my seashell, and I outlined it with brown marker, and now I'm going to color it with colored pencil, and I think I'm going to use kind of a peachy salmon color, like a peachy pink. And I'm also going to use a brown. And since this is the inside part of the shell, you might also want to shade that a little darker, either with some black or maybe, I'm going to turn my page here a little bit, maybe a dark brown like this, since it's supposed to be dark and shadowy. And maybe you even shade it to there, kind of dark. And then above there, maybe I don't press so hard with my pencil. So see how it looks lighter? It looks lighter where I'm not pressing hard with my pencil. And maybe I go over it a little bit with my peachy pink color. Okay, and then I'm just gonna color, maybe I'm not gonna press so hard on this. Not pressing so hard with my peachy pink color as I color in my seashell. And remember, when we're coloring, we're going to try to stay in the same direction. We're going to try not to change directions too much unless we need to. If we do that, then our coloring will look more uniform, which means it'll look a little neater. Okay, so there's my seashell. If you want to add a second color like I am, you can. I'm going to add a little bit of that light brown. Maybe just real lightly. Okay, so this is the hardest part. If the shell is too hard for you, if you're practicing the shell and it's just too hard and you want to leave it out of your picture, that's fine. I would be okay with it if you decide it's too difficult and you want to leave it out. Otherwise, it makes a nice addition to our drawing. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish coloring, outlining with marker and coloring with colored pencil my picture. You can go ahead and do the same. You can make the bucket and shovel any color you want. You can make the flip-flops any color you want. I think I might have made my flip-flops a little too big, but that's okay. They maybe look like they're a little bit closer to us than the beach ball and the bucket. But go ahead and pause the video and you can work on outlining and coloring yours. And I'm going to go ahead and do mine. Oh, and there's one more thing. If you would like to draw another line above here for water, maybe more of a straight line, this would be like our horizon. Okay, so can you see that? Here's the wavy line for my sand. You don't have to do this, but if you want to, you can make it look like in the distance there's some water, like you're at the beach, right? And here's the sand and here's the water in the distance. And then this can be sky. Or if you just want the whole picture to be sand, that's fine too. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do mine and then I will show you what it looks like when I'm done. And actually, before I'm done, I want to show you one more thing. You might notice that at the top of my bucket, this part right here, this ellipse, I colored darker. I pressed harder with my pencil and I pressed lighter here so that the color looks a little lighter here and it looks darker inside my bucket. You see that? So you might want to try to do that as well. Just press a little bit harder with your pencil inside the ellipse. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish now. So I'm almost done with mine, but I just wanted to show you with the sky, if you have two different color blues, I would recommend coloring the water a darker blue and the sky a lighter blue. So if you have two different colors of blue, great. You might not have all the colors that I have with colored pencil. If you only have one blue, then you might want to just try coloring your sky as lightly as you possibly can without pressing at all. And then when you color the water, you can press harder with your pencil so that it looks darker. I have two different color blues. So also I wanted to make sure to tell you again to stay in the same direction when you're coloring. So see how I'm coloring the sky? I'm just going this direction, side to side like this when I color. So I don't want to change directions and start going up and down or this way. I want to, if I'm coloring side to side like this, I want to keep coloring side to side like this. Does that make sense? So you just want to try to stay in the same direction when you're coloring, okay? The only time you might need to change direction is like right here on the edge of the paper. If you want to do the edge of the paper, you might have to change directions there. But anyway, there's my picture. My sand, I used kind of a, you might call it a mustard yellow, but if you don't have that color in your colored pencils, kind of like an amber mustard type of color, you can use tan. So go ahead and experiment with the different color pencils that you have, and you can pick a color that you think is best for your sand. So there we go. So I hope you had fun, and don't forget to send me pictures or post it on our private Facebook page, because I always love to see your artwork. Have a great week, everybody.